Welcome to episode 1, Why Your Practice Feels Like It's Running You, and the first step to taking back control. Thank goodness. Welcome back. If you ever ended a day feeling like your practice ran you instead of the other way around, this episode is for you. I'm Dr. Juanita Collier, behavioral optometrist, CEO of 4D Vision Gym, and founder of 4D Elevate. And today, I want to kick off this channel by talking about something clinicians rarely ever say out loud. The failure that you're feeling is not a personal failure, it's a systems problem. Here's what this looks like for most therapy-driven practices. Your schedule's packed, but your revenue is not matching the exhaustion. Parents are messaging you at all hours, and you're trying to keep up. Your team is asking you questions all day because the workflow isn't clear. Every decision, big or small, still runs through you. And even though you love your work, you're starting to dread the management part. How many of us say the easiest part of our practice is practicing and the hardest part of our practice is managing staff? It's not even just managing staff, it's managing systems. Does that sound familiar for you? And it makes sense because we went to school to become clinicians, not CEOs. Nobody trained us to build systems, delegate effectively, create predictable workflows. A lot of times we don't even know what a workflow is, if we're being honest. So it's kind of like we're just doing our best. That's what we're constantly just trying to do our best. And we definitely were not taught how to scale without burning out. So, of course, your practice feels chaotic. Of course, you feel like the bottleneck. And a lot of times you are. We are the ones who know all the answers. We're the ones who make all the decisions. We're the ones who need to read the reports and write the reports and do all the things to make sure that everything looks exactly how it's supposed to, because we haven't fully trained our staff on how to do it. So, of course, you're tired. You're not broken. Your systems are. So that's the good news. Lots of more good news coming too. There's only one foundational shift that changes everything. And I want this to be the very first lesson on this channel. That shift is stop trying to run your practice, start leading it. The moment you start building your practice around how it needs to function without you, everything gets lighter. And I know that can be a scary thought. We don't want to really think about our practices running without us. One, because we don't think they can, obviously. And then 2, because our practices need us. We're the face behind the magic. And so we don't really want to kind of give that up. And if we don't give it up, we're going to burn out. And so the question that we really need to answer is, what do I want this practice to look like 12 months from now? And what's stopping it from happening today? Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. We don't want this to just be kind of thought processes or just, like, oh yeah, I need to think about that after I put out all these fires. No, this is the first step in not having fires. Write it down, be honest. Let's list the friction points so that we can figure out how to get past them. When we're thinking about potential friction points, I won't say that those are the ones that I have, but they might be. We have communication, bottlenecks, unclear roles, inconsistent training, no digital options, too many things that only you can do, because you cannot fix what you haven't named. So if we don't write it down, if we don't list it, then we won't know where we're starting. So we really want to make sure that we are getting all of this down on paper so that we can get moving on it. So here's a simple assignment that will change the way you look at your practice. For the next week, track every moment you become the bottleneck. In our practice, what I've done and what I've had my kind of senior staff do is a time study. And so you want to really look to see, where are you spending your time? And then, it might seem really, really annoying and obnoxious, but if you write down what you're doing every minute of the day, that sounds like a big task, I know. But if you write down what you're doing every minute of the day, you'll see, 1, all the ways that you're not being efficient, but 2, all the things that you're doing that somebody else on your team can do that would make you automatically not the bottleneck. And if you're not the bottleneck, then you can really start leading your practice. And that's what we came here for. So every time that someone asks you, what should I do? How do I handle this situation? Then that's an opportunity to fully train them, not only on what they should do as their next move, but on how they should think about the process going forward. Obviously, we're not saying like, okay, I answered you once, go ahead and run with it, because goodness gracious, we know that that could be disastrous. But we want to have them really review our thought process. And that means that we need to be clear on our thought process too. So once we're clear on our thought process, and then we have them gain clarity on our thought process, then when they come to us with a problem, we can say, okay, so what are your thoughts? What are you thinking we should do next? Because what we want people to do is not only come to us with a problem, but with the solution in tow. Then we can sign off on the solution, or we can explain why that solution is not the one that we want to take. But just answering the question and moving on because you have 5 million other things on your desk does not train your staff going forward. And it makes you necessary forever and ever and ever until you decide that you're just burnt out and you don't feel like doing it anymore. So we might need to slow down for a second and really get that thought process codified. But then once it is, then it's done. And we can go on to leading our practices and having the practices that really bring us to what we envisioned when we set out for this. So if you do this, and by the end of the week, you'll have the beginning of the practice's roadmap for you becoming the CEO, not just the owner. A clear picture of what structures you need and the things that we maybe don't need to hold on to anymore. So with that, this channel exists to give you the tools, the strategy, and the leadership development that I wish somebody had given me years ago. We're going to talk about systems, teams, communication, digital programs, burnout, leadership, all of it. What are the ways that we can build our practices so that they live on past us and that they can live without us so that we can go on to love the practices that we built, fall back in love with the therapy that we deliver, and be able to be there for the people in our lives that matter most. So if you're ready to build the practice you envisioned, not the one that's currently draining you, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because in episode 2, we're going to break down the 3 biggest reasons clinicians stay stuck in overwhelm and how to get out of it for good. So let's get building.